and welcome to this evening's information session where we'll be discussing our brand new BCom majoring in economics qualification. This is a very exciting first look at our BCom with a major in economics, which is going to be launching for the first time in February of 2026. I'm very, very excited to be talking about this qualification with you all this evening, and I'm joined with my colleagues. Colleagues, would you please introduce yourselves to our future students?
Thank you, Julia. What a pleasure to be here to actually tell you about the new stream that we're launching. I'm superly excited about that. I've done my doctorates in human resource management and specializing in how virtual reality actually can be used in teaching and learning. So all for innovation, all for bringing out new things. So that is me in a nutshell, presenting the position of head of school in commerce. Thank you.
Good evening, colleagues. My name is Simba Karadzandima. I am a lecturer in economics. I have virtually done economics my whole life. From my undergraduate, I was studying economics. Currently, I'm lecturing economics modules at Milpark, and I'm also studying for my PhD in economics as well. So I hope we are going to have a nice time together. Thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you, colleagues. And I am Julia Ross. I am the program head for the BCom qualifications here at our School of Commerce. So we have our experts in VR and new technologies and new learner management platforms. We have our experts in economics. And really what this qualification celebrates is a merging between those two awesome things. So to get us started, I'm going to ask Dr. Maritza to take us through what is Milpark and the School of Commerce all about.
Oh, Julia, that's aligning so well with our graduate attributes, what you said. Because at the end of the day, when our students leave, we want graduates that's really equipped to embrace digital transformation, to embrace technology, while having still maintained that strong human-centered approach. And that is also very important in the way that we teach, to always have that human connection with our students. But you'll speak to that a bit later when you speak about our mode of delivery. Also, very important to us, we understand that we have local challenges, but we will contribute effectively to global context. So the third one is where we want graduates to really think innovatively and act resilience in complex and changing environments. Also, very important, bringing it into our way that we teach, is to have that collaboration with students, with one another, and also to bring that meaningful sense of community into our teaching, so that we can, when graduates leave, they can also add value and collaboration to the industries that they are in. And then, not the least one, but to have that positive impact that students say, yes, I can do this. I can strive for personal excellence because of the skills that Milpark has taught me over and above the technical theory part of things. So that is our graduate attributes. That is actually like a golden string throughout all of the modules that we teach. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That's exactly right. There's a golden string. These graduate attributes are built into the course material. They're built into your interactions with your lecturers. They're built into your assessments, so that at the end of the day, we do produce graduates who are ready not only for the industry, but ready to shake that industry, ready to transform that industry. And I think this brings us to the next thing of, well, what will make a BCom with a major in economics unique from Milpark as opposed to anywhere else? And one thing that's important to note is that the BCom qualifications are fully accredited. And this means that you can go on and you can pursue honors and masters and hopefully your PhD, like our economics experts here tonight, Simba, to continue those studies after this qualification. With the BCom, we also have 15 different majors. So along with the BCom economics, there's a whole host of other majors such as compliance and risk and financial management and marketing, etc. It is quite a host of BCom qualifications. This degree is also offered through our new mode of learning, which is called immersive online, and it is incredibly cool, and we'll chat about it a little bit more towards the end of the session. But essentially what it means is that you're learning online, but in a very guided environment, and that online learning doesn't have to mean learning alone. And that's immersive online in a nutshell. Another important feature about our BCom with major in economics is that it's very practical. It's highly linked to industry. It's very career focused in terms of how do we design the modules to ensure that graduates will succeed at their next job, at their next promotion, when they're starting a business or for themselves. So it's very practical. It's very linked in what is actually happening in industry and what are the global trends. And then, like I said, because we're fully accredited, there are many pathways to postgraduate study because at Milpark, we believe in lifelong learning. We believe that one qualification gives you a massive foot in the door, but it's not the end of the journey. And we want our graduates to continue learning either formally or informally. But on to the star of the show, our new BCom with a major in economics. And this qualifications focus is to have graduates who understand markets, who can influence policy, and who can drive growth. And this is a look at what are some of the modules that a BCom in economics student will be taking. So one important feature of the BCom and BBA qualifications within the School of Commerce is that first year is relatively the same. And there's a very important reason for this. There's two very important reasons for this. The first one is that although you are majoring in economics or financial management or digital business, every BCom graduate needs to have basic business acumen, that ability to listen to the discussion in the boardroom and not only understand what the different specialists are speaking about, but
So if
Sorry.
I can just continue there with year two, the year two, we will go into those specialized modules that you will see that will speak to microeconomic economics, the macroeconomics, then followed by year three, where you will actually take that further and go to international economics and monetary economics. Over to you, Julia.
Thank you, Maritza. Apologies, the oncoming storm is disrupting my Wi-Fi signal. But yes, that's exactly the journey. Is your second year builds on your first year, your third year builds on your second year, and there's those core modules throughout that are grounded in business, grounded in a very versatile skill set, not to detract from those economics modules. And I was hoping, Simba, given that you teach monetary economics and you teach intermediate microeconomics, would you mind giving us just a brief overview of what will students be learning in these modules?
Certainly, Julia, I can do that. All right. So in our first year, we are basically introducing our students to what economics is all about. So we are going to look at microeconomics, where we learn about scarcity of resources. How do we allocate our resources? How do we put the limited resources that we have to their best use? So microeconomics is about the theory that economics is all about. We look at individual markets, look at supply and demand. We look at firms, how they operate. And if you want to start your own firm, in which market are you going to be operating in? You need to understand that so that you make the best decision about, say, a business that you want to start. Then also in first year, we are also going to look at macroeconomics. When we look at macroeconomics, we are now trying to have a bird's eye view of the economy. We want to look at issues that affect the whole economy, issues to do with economic growth, issues to do with unemployment. But this is at an elementary level. I can say it is at an introductory level, not elementary rather, introductory level. Then we move on to our second year. We are now building into those concepts that we would have introduced in first year, where your microeconomics now becomes intermediate microeconomics. We are still studying the same concepts, but we are now studying them at a more advanced level. Same with introduction to macroeconomics. It is going to build into intermediate macroeconomics, right? We are still analyzing the same models, but the level of analysis increases, right? You also want now to incorporate your business statistics as well into this economics that we are looking at as well. Then you move on to your third year. We have an interesting course there, which is econometrics for business and policy analysis. I love econometrics. That is where we do our economic modeling, right? That is where we are going to be using those various interesting softwares like your Stata, your R, to come up with economic models. We want to predict what is the effect of, for instance, having this session on students taking up the BCom economics. So that is the economic modeling that we do, which is something that I find to be very interesting in economics. We also look at international economics. I think right now, Julia, you are aware of what is happening with Donald Trump refusing to come to the G20 summit. That is international economics. How is that going to affect investors coming to us, South Africa? How is that going to affect international trade between South Africa and the rest of the world? So those are some of the concepts that we look at in international economics. Then monetary economics, as it says, it's about money, which is also interesting. I think we all want money, all right? But we want to see the effect of money in the economy. So those are in a nutshell, those are the courses that we are going to be looking at.
Thank you, Simba. It's so difficult to sum up, how much depth and how much case studies and examples and practical effects that these modules have. But thank you for giving us a little taste about the economics journey. And I'm hoping now, Simba, can you tell us, why should we study economics?
That's such an interesting question, because I'm thinking, I sit with an HR background. Do I actually must I be good at maths? Or will I never be able to pivot to this love for economics?
All right, Marisa, I'm going to touch on your concerns a bit. Marisa, economics is life. All right, it's basically everywhere. It's life. The lady who's selling tomatoes out there on the streets knows about economics. They know about supply and demand, when to reduce prices. Are the tomatoes in season? Should we reduce or should we increase the price? That is economics, all right? So we look at various aspects. So economics is basically how society optimizes its resources, all right? We are all selfish human beings and we want the best outcomes for ourselves, right? So we all act out of self-interest. So we want to operate in an efficient manner. If it is at firm level, if it is at individual level, you do your budget, you have gotten paid, all right? You want to see, how can I optimize this salary that I have just earned? That is economics that you're already practicing there. So economics is very important at personal level, at firm level, at government level. I think yesterday we listened to the medium-term budget statement by the Minister of Finance, right? That is economics, trying to optimize the few resources that South Africa has. So that is at national level. So we have so many definitions of economics, but all they center on how we can efficiently use the few resources that we have. So when you look at economics in action, we are basically trying to take life and put it into theory. That is what we are basically doing. It's life that we are putting into theory. All right. So how can we make informed decisions about business, about our own personal lives? We develop critical thinking. Remember, Marisa, one of the attributes that you discussed in the first slide, they are well pronounced in economics, because in economics, we just don't say, like marketing people, I don't know yet, so if you have marketing people here, list the 4 Ps. We don't do that. We want to critically evaluate each and every action, all right? So that is critical and analytical skills. Then Marisa, to the elephant in the room, do we need to be great in maths? All right, we do have a bit of calculations, but it is not a trend smash. I believe if you still remember, I always ask my students, do you still remember how we used to calculate the area of a triangle? This is what we are now doing. Student will be saying, where did that half B times H come from? It's how the area of a triangle, the math that we used to do at high school, at primary, that's the math that we implement. Then also, we also have another course in statistics, which will also assist if you have remembered, if you have forgotten, sorry, most of the concepts. So you don't really need to be great at maths. You just need a basic understanding of mathematics. All right, Julia, putting it back to you.
Thank you, Simba. You've relieved Maritza and my anxiety for needing maths for a BCom with a major in economics. So thank you very much.
And I also think the fact that we offer the bridging course. So if you don't feel 100% ready, we've got the bridging course before you can actually have to start with this one.
Absolutely. That's an excellent point, because even if the last time you did maths was years and years and years ago, then that's a great opportunity to then do maths and get more familiar with it in a low stakes environment before embarking on the full qualification. And the really nice thing about that course is that you get exemptions for it. So if you completed those maths modules in your bridging course and then you start your BCom, it simply means you don't need to then start off BCom with maths, because you've already completed that aspect of it.
But I'm always interested in, what will my designation be? What can I become?
That is the most important question. And I think the important thing before we even start off on this list, and Simba, I'm going to ask you to explain most of these to us, because this is well within your field of expertise. But the reality of a BCom qualification is that it opens the doors, and that this list is just a few examples of the sort of careers that you could move into, that you could be promoted into with a BCom, with a major in economics. But it's by no means the only career options that one could go into with this qualification. So I don't know, Simba, would you mind telling us, what does an economist do?
All right, thanks, Julia and Maritza. So I always say to people, if you really don't know what you want to do in life, you should study economics, because economists are everywhere. I can see your lists here, Julia. I don't know whether you're the one who did this list. It has a lot of opportunities, career-wise, but I also see a lot of other avenues as well that that enable you to enter the job market. So I'm also looking at your lists, Julia, and I'm looking for an academic there, a teacher like me, and we are not even listed there. That is, you always look down upon us teachers, right? I don't see any teachers there, but you can become a teacher if you study economics. All right, you can teach economics if you have a passion for teaching. You can teach it at high school. You can teach it at tertiary level, like we do. So that is one of the opportunities or career options that we have. Then you look at, of course, if you study economics, we automatically call you an economist. All right. So I am an economist. But the difference is, are you a practicing economist or you're not? So that is one big opportunity. So economists, they are everywhere. Private companies, banks, the financial sector. We have a lot of these. The Reserve Bank, advising the governor, Minister of Finance, public sector. So it's a lot of opportunities they exist for economists. Then if you want to go into markets, you want to be a market analyst, you need those economic fundamentals that we're discussing. Very important for you, which is some of the courses that we offer here at Milpark. If you are looking at econometrics, you are looking at monetary economics, even the basic introductory economics is also important as you move with your career. You can become a policy advisor for the various ministries or departments that is in the public sector. Data analysts, you do your statistics, you do your econometrics, you get comfortable with various softwares that we use. For example, Stata, you can use R. A lot of coding is happening these days with AI as well, right? But do not be scared, guys. Do not be scared about econometrics. The good thing is I was trying to run a code. I was trying to run a code today, and I just put my prompts on ChatGTP, and I actually got a code there. So even the econometrics is no longer that challenging at all because of the use of AI and how it helps us to discover new things. Investment analysts, if you want to go into investment banking, if you're a person, you are not looking at big monies, yeah, you can become an investment banker. That is also something that is very interesting. You could work as a business consulting firms like your KPMGs and other small firms that do business consulting and strategy. Those are also avenues for economists that we have. Julia, how about business intelligence officer? That's a
So
big word there. Could you talk to that?
it's a big word, and many companies have business intelligence officers or CIOs where you basically the expert advising the company in-house, where you're the economy expert, you're the person who is able to translate all this data that you're working with and use it to inform business strategy. And it's almost the career option that if you had to package a BCom with a major in economics as a person, it would be a business intelligence officer, somebody who can speak to that strategy, but they can also speak to the economics of it all and speak to the statistics of it all and use that to inform the greater company's strategy.
All right, all right, all right. Yeah, that sounds quite interesting, Julia. Thanks for that. Then I don't know if I can go on economic research. Remember, guys, economics does not only end with those fancy things of looking at the financial sector, jobs, or the government. You also have other interesting sectors, which is where my passion really lies. I enjoy the microeconomics of poverty, things to do with social upliftment, the marginalized parts of the economy, right, or the community. You are looking at how the marginalization of women can affect their outcomes, orphans, all that is economics as well, which is something that I really find fascinating. for myself. And also that is where my studies, my research studies are also centered on. So sometimes when people look at economics, they only look at the fancy things, whilst forgetting the social things as well, which are very important. Yesterday we were listening to the budget by the minister, and he was saying that when you reduce there's a new target for inflation, which is 3%, and it is going to help the poor. All right, that's where his sentence ended. Right, it is going to help the poor, but we really need to interrogate how are the poor going to be assisted by a lower inflation target. Right, that is the economics that I find to have more impact on the society. And so it is very broad when you are studying economics. We look at so many things, Julia. I don't know whether you managed to listen to the budget, Julia, yesterday.
Simba, I don't think I would understand it in the same way that you would. I think I need to study some economics first.
Okay. No, that's fine. Marisa, on your side, anything? Global G20, are you following that?
Yes, I'm following it. And also reverting to what you've said previously in this session. So looking forward to us hosting it.
All right, all right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So yeah, I guess I've said a lot about the career options, and I think economics is very broad. So there's so many things that you can do that will require you to have a basic understanding of economics. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you so much, Simba. And I think the career options are super important. You need to know, well, where is this qualification going to lead me? What are my options? Where am I going? What doors can I get my foot in? But another really important aspect of studying and obtaining a qualification is gaining more skills. And we embed skills in every single one of our modules, in our assessments throughout the course. And Maritza, would you mind taking us through some of the skills that our students will gain when studying a BCom with a major in economics?
Before I start there, I watched the podcast of our CEO just earlier today. And he also made mention of how important it is for employability to actually have the skill. So people with these skills that I'm going to talk to now, and it fits so nicely in with our graduate attributes. And if you know more about the inner parts of Milpop, we base every single thing that we do on our graduate attributes, golden thread into the skills, into the module, how we teach our lecturer attributes. And he also spoke about the importance of not just having the diploma or that paper in your hand, but actually walking away with these skills that are part of the critical skills in South Africa. That really analytical thinking differently, not just taking status quo for everything, but questioning, reasoning, debating, having those conversations. Simba, you alerted to that digital literacy that is part of this qualification, and that will be embedded in all of the modules. We cannot disseminate problem solving and decision making and that ethical thing as not being part of the skills that you will learn. So we're not going to necessarily have a module in ethics or module in problem solving, but it is how we are going to teach you these skills throughout the theory that you will get when you study with us. And then also remember that lifelong learning. We're living in an ever-evolving world, and we need to make sure that we are future thinking. And that is also that we would like to embed it in our students. Simba, do you want to talk to about the macroeconomic modeling one?
All right. So when thank you, Maritza. When we when we are developing a model, we just want to find a relationship between maybe variables. For instance, we can say we want to use econometrics to find a relationship. For instance, let's say what can we talk about here? What do we have? Okay, I'll go back to the budget of yesterday. We are going to have a budget surplus. So it means the government is focusing that the revenues that it has collected are greater than the expenditure that it is currently incurring. All right. So a model that we could come up with is we want to look at economic growth, and we then analyze how is it affected by periods in which government has a surplus or periods in which government has a deficit. Already that is a model. All right. Or I could say, coming back to my favorite topics, I could say we want to look at issues to do with poverty. Right. We look at the child support grant that is given in South Africa. Right. How does poverty, which is our outcome, gets affected by people receiving the child support grant? Is it going to reduce poverty? Is it going to result in an increase in other vices, like people resorting to drugs because now they have more money, people resorting to drinking, and so forth? So already that is a model. So we are looking at a relationship, right? So in economics, we can brag a bit. We just don't say because of this, therefore this. We want to empirically test that relationship and see whether it is actually factual. So that is the model. So it also comes now to Maritza, what you were mentioning, which is problem solving and decision making. All right. We know that information now is readily available for everyone, but what organizations are now requiring is people who are able to solve their problems, to come up with new opportunities that can grow their bottom line. So that is one of the key aspects that economics enables people to do. So you also find that in any institution that you go to, you find that almost all the commerce modules, you end up doing economics, maybe from your first, second, up to third year, you are still doing economics module because of that aspect of critical thinking, problem solving, which is what the industry requires.
And it gives you that well-roundedness as a person, Julia.
For sure, because then you understand the cause, the effects. How did we get there? Can we test that against other evidence? And how do we now apply it to our situations? How do we use that information to grow our business, to grow our, standing in the bigger global standpoint? So that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing those skills. And now we've looked at quite a lot in terms of what you'll learn and what skills you'll have and which careers you can go into. So the last thing I would like to touch on this evening is how will you learn this? So starting in 2026, along with this new qualification, our learning online is going to be done in an immersive manner. So we're going to be learning on Canvas in an immersive online environment. And what this means is that you are learning in a structured but flexible environment. And structured and flexible can often sound like they're at odds with one another. But what this really means is that you'll have weekly goals to achieve, be it a reflection, a discussion, an assessment. And within that week, when you achieve that goal is up to you. You'll have to collaborate with colleagues who are learning along with you. But if you're a night owl and you want to post your discussions at midnight, then that's perfectly fine because the next morning when the early bird gets on, then they can contribute to your discussions. So it's about learning in an environment where it supports part-time learning, it supports full-time learning, and it really enables you to have micro goals so that you can achieve your weekly outputs and get to your final summative assessments and eventually the graduation stage with the least stress possible and the most opportunity to really learn the information as opposed to just cram the information to pass an exam. The other awesome thing, yes.
Will I meet my fellow students?
Absolutely. So there is lots of engagement opportunities, and some of the engagement opportunities are sessions like this, where we could all be in a team session collaborating, asking Simba for advice on how to use R in our econometrics module because, ChatGPT is just not giving us the right code. But then there's also lots of interaction in terms of chat forums where you can quickly pop your lecturer a message and say, hey, I need some assistance with this. But then you can also engage in the student-to-student chat form your study groups, form those relationships with people who are going to be your colleagues and your peers and connections that you're going to rely on and cherish for the rest of your professional career. And there is also engagement in the form of some group activities and those guided discussion forums like I've discussed. So there's what's really important about immersive online is that you are not alone and you can engage as much as you want. You can book consultations with your lecturer, meet them for half an hour, have that one-on-one session, really go through the coursework to truly understand it. And all of your information is easily accessible. Topic 1 blends into topic 2. You don't need to search to find what do you do next. You'll be prompted, you'll have calendars. It's very intuitive and it really gives students a clear structure and a clear pathway to success in their studying journey. So that is immersive online in a nutshell. But we will be having information sessions about this awesome new way of studying very soon. I think most importantly for us to wrap this session up is to find out from you guys, do you have any questions? What do you want to know about the BCom with a major in economics? So you are more than welcome to raise your hand and we will turn your mic on, or you can post in the chat and let us know what is it that you want to know about this qualification. And keep in mind, you are welcome to use the chat function after this meeting. And if we don't get to respond to you right away, then somebody will send you an email in the next day, just giving you the answer to all of your questions. But other than that, panel, it has been wonderful to have you. And thank you to everybody who has come this evening and participated. And we really hope to see you as the future economists, business information officers, data analysts of the future. And we want to be with you step by step in terms of getting you to that goal. So we hope to see you next year and have an incredible evening. Goodbye, everybody.